Have you ever noticed that the more clothes we buy, the more it feels like we have nothing to wear? That is not a lack of pieces. It is an excess of noise. And the worst part? That noise is screaming a desperate woman trying to look elegant. But truly elegant women do not scream. They whisper sophistication. And today, I, Carol, will show you exactly the 5 fashion traps that are silently destroying your image. If you want to turn your elegance into something profitable, subscribe to the channel now, hit the bell icon, and leave a like. Because what I am about to reveal will completely change not only the way you see your wardrobe, but also the way others see you. I love beauty, and I have spent the last decade studying the visual codes of women who inspire envy wherever they go. And I can assure you, they are not making the mistakes you are about to discover. In fact, they do exactly the opposite. And that is why they are remembered, while others are just another face in the crowd. So let us get straight to the point. The first trap. You think you are developing your personal style, but in reality, you are just following whatever is fashionable right now. And that illusion is costing you far more than money. It is costing you your visual identity. We do not have our own taste. We think we do. But the harsh truth is that we are being manipulated by trend cycles that are faster, more invasive, and more invisible than ever. Think about it. In the 1960s, the beauty ideal was twiggy, skinny, androgynous, almost childlike. Just 10 years earlier, in the 1950s, it was Marilyn Monroe, curvy, sensual, ultra-feminine. 2 completely opposite extremes, right? But you know the brutal difference between that era and now? Those cycles used to last for decades. A woman could build her wardrobe, her visual identity, and it would remain relevant for years. Today, a trend is born and dies within weeks. Literally weeks, sometimes days. In 2021, everyone owned chunky sneakers, those huge dad sneakers that looked like you stole them from your father in the 90s. Today, ballet flats and cowboy boots, fur coats, once considered unethical and politically incorrect for years, came roaring back after the mob wife aesthetic went viral on TikTok, and suddenly everyone wanted to look like Tony Soprano's wife. Vegetable oils became health villains overnight because some fitness influencer decided so. And the word demure? No one, absolutely no one, used that word in daily vocabulary. Until suddenly, everyone was saying it 6 times per sentence as if it had always been part of their lexicon. That is not style evolution. That is mass manipulation disguised as self-discovery. And here lies the crucial point that separates you from truly elegant women, the ones who walk into a room and make everyone look. While you are chasing the next trend so you do not seem out of touch, they are building a timeless wardrobe based on what works for them, not on what is trending on Instagram this week. Ordinary women buy trends. Elite women build a visual signature. See the difference? One is always trying to become something. The other already is something. The next trap is cruel. Because it seems harmless, it even seems smart. But it is draining your money and your visual credibility. Second trap. You are buying classics that are not truly classic. And the fashion industry knows exactly how to deceive you with that narrative. Let me give you the perfect example, one that will make you question every investment you have ever made. The white shirt. Everyone says the white shirt is an absolute classic, timeless, essential, the kind of piece every elegant woman should have in her closet. And in theory, that is true. But here's the dirty little trick no one tells you, the one the fashion industry never admits. The white shirt of 2025 is completely different from the white shirt of 2015. The one now is oversized, structured, with shoulder pads, puffed sleeves, an open collar that goes almost halfway down the bust, a creative CEO in a Harper's Bazaar editorial vibe. The one from 2015 was fitted to the body, with stretch fabric, a traditional collar, pearl buttons, very much that early 2000s movie lawyer aesthetic. Both were sold as timeless pieces. Both promised to be versatile, sophisticated wardrobe staples. Both carried that mental tag of worth the investment. But a decade later, one of them has become a dated uniform. And the other? It is headed in the same direction soon. How is that possible if both were eternal? Here is the inconvenient truth. Even the basics, even the so-called classics, even the pieces sold to you as forever still follow fashion cycles. The only difference is that now they come in a more sophisticated package, a more refined language, a marketing speech about investment, when in reality, they are still just another product of the fashion cycle with an emotional expiration date. And by observing truly wealthy women, the ones who inherited sophistication, not just money, I realize something. They do not buy the trendy white shirt. They buy the white shirt that flatters their body, that serves their lifestyle, that fits into their visual signature. period. If you have broad shoulders and a small bust like Charlize Theron, maybe the loose masculine-style shirt works beautifully. But if you have delicate curves and a petite frame like Emilia Clarke, that model will swallow you whole. It will look like a costume, not clothing. Now that fitted shirt from 2015, perfect. It gives structure, it balances, it beautifies. See the crucial difference? Elite women do not follow trends. They extract what is useful from them. They are not afraid of looking out of fashion because they know true elegance never depends on what is in the store window this week. While you are buying what everyone else is wearing, they are buying what only they can wear with authenticity. And that is exactly why they look unique, while everyone else looks like a copy. Now, the third one, and this one hurts because everyone falls for it. Third trap. You are buying for a life that is not yours. And that means money wasted, closet space wasted, and most importantly, you dressing like a character instead of a person. I made this mistake for years, so I can speak with authority about the pain of looking at a closet full of beautiful clothes that you never wear. I bought 10 pairs of gorgeous, expensive high heels, influenced by those perfect photos of women walking through airports wearing white blazers, nude pumps, and Louis Vuitton carry-ons. That image of the sophisticated, busy, global woman who is always between one destination and another, doing everything with elegance. The problem? My real routine is driving, waiting in supermarket lines, running 1,000 errands on foot through uneven sidewalks, and occasionally rushing to an event after work. Those heels are still in their boxes, untouched, staring at me as if to say, "Why did you buy me?" While the same 3 pairs of flats and comfortable boots are in eternal rotation because they work. You know that tiny, ultra-chic Jacquemus bag that every influencer is wearing? Beautiful, Instagrammable, iconic. But if your phone does not fit in it, if your wallet does not close, if you need to carry at least lipstick, keys, and a card, what is the real point? You will spend the entire day irritated, holding half your belongings in your hand because they do not fit in the bag that cost a fortune and that you bought because it was the bag of the moment. Suede loafers are incredibly elegant, giving that aura of an English heiress strolling through her family's garden. But if you live in Seattle, where it rains 300 days a year, they will be ruined in the first week. Literally ruined, stained, destroyed. Women who truly make a good impression, who are remembered for their elegance, not their effort, do not buy based on what looks good in a photo. They buy based on what looks beautiful and functional for their real life. And that is a huge fundamental difference that separates those who only seem elegant from those who are elegant. Because true elegance is not about sacrifice. It is not about silently suffering in uncomfortable heels. It is not about carrying a bag that does not work. Elegance is about visual intelligence. It is about making choices that make sense. A truly elegant woman does not dress to impress. She dresses to communicate status, and she does it comfortably. The fourth one will make you rethink every online purchase you have ever made. Fourth trap. You are throwing money at terrible quality, thinking you are getting a good deal. And the math behind that illusion is brutal once you actually calculate it. I remember perfectly when I was in college, that phase when every penny counts, when there is no money for anything unnecessary, and I walked into a department store. I found a beautiful blouse, well cut, looked expensive, displayed in the window under perfect lighting like it was the piece of the century. I bought it. I wore it. I washed it once, one time. The button fell off, the seam opened on the side. The fabric lost all its life, looking like an old dishcloth. It looked as if I had worn that blouse for 5 years when I had only washed it once. That was the last time I ever shopped there. The silent elite understands this deeply. They do not have massive closets. They have strategic ones. Pieces that last for years, that get better with time, that can be taken to a tailor for small adjustments as their body changes. Ordinary women accumulate volume. The elite cultivates quality. And before I show you the fifth trap, the most dangerous of all, because it seems empowering but actually makes you completely invisible, I need to tell you something that completely changed my life. It was only when I stopped buying what was trendy and started studying the visual codes of the silent elite that my image began to work for me. Not in an obvious way, not in a loud way, in a subtle, powerful, transformative way. And that changed absolutely everything. My opportunities, my income, my networking, the way people treat me in professional settings, the respect I receive in social situations, the doors that open simply because my visual presentation communicates something specific. That is exactly why I created the course Look Rich Without Spending Much. It is not about showing off. It is not about logos. It is not about pretending to be someone you are not. It is about presence, discretion, Silent prestige. Because a woman who dresses intelligently, who understands visual codes, who masters the nonverbal language of elegance, opens doors that no amount of money can buy. She is invited to tables where decisions are made. She is remembered when opportunities appear. She is respected before she even speaks. In the course, you will learn exactly which pieces to buy, how to combine them in unexpected ways, where to save without looking cheap, and where to invest for maximum impact. You will discover the invisible details, those micro signals that separate an ordinary appearance from a memorable one. The course is currently at a promotional price, and honestly, if you want to be treated differently, to receive better opportunities, to make the right impression in the right places without spending a fortune trying, you need this course. The link is in the description. Take advantage of this price while it lasts. This investment will pay for itself the very first time you are treated differently simply because of the way you presented yourself. Now, let us move on to the worst one of all. The one that seems empowering, modern, and liberating, but is actually making you invisible. Fifth trap. You are not wearing your own story. You are wearing someone else's. And that is completely erasing your identity. Let me show you exactly what I mean by that, because it is subtle, invisible, and that is what makes it so dangerous. There are viral videos on TikTok right now, with millions of views, where girls show pictures of how they dressed 3, 4, or 5 years ago. They call it "before I found my personal style," make horrified faces, laugh at themselves. Then they show how they dress today, striking a pose as if they have finally found themselves, confidently saying, "Now I've found my identity. Now I know who I am." The problem? When you watch these videos carefully, with a critical eye, you notice a disturbing pattern. The before is simply what was in fashion 3 or 4 years ago. And the after, that supposed moment of self-discovery, is just what is in fashion today. There is absolutely nothing personal about that style. It is just an old trend versus a new one. One algorithm replacing another. The same thing happened with makeup, and here the pattern becomes even more obvious. Girls who spent years drawing thick, dark eyebrows in 2018, following tutorials, buying specific products, convinced that was the look, now look back horrified. How could I ever think that was pretty? Girls who bleached their hair obsessively until it was nearly white, completely damaging it in the process, now realize that their natural tone was far better, much softer, much more sophisticated. But at the time, both groups thought they looked amazing. Both believed they had found their style. If you look at photos of yourself from just 2 years ago and feel embarrassed, if you cringe and think, "What was I even thinking?" something is fundamentally wrong, because that means you are not building a style. You are merely consuming what is placed in front of you, changing skins like a chameleon every new season. Truly elegant women, the ones who define trends instead of following them, have photos from 20 or 30 years ago that still look good, still look relevant, still look like them. Do you know why? Because they wear who they are, not what is in the store window this week. They have a clear, recognizable, consistent visual signature. While some follow algorithms, others follow a defined identity, and that is why they are perceived as valuable, memorable, and important. So how do you find that authentic style, that visual voice that is genuinely yours? Let me give you practical exercises. Things you can do right now. First, open your closet. Mentally, if not physically. What are the oldest pieces you own? The ones you still wear after 5, 6, 7 years, even if they are out of style, even if nobody else wears them anymore? Second strategy. Look at your deep cultural references. The ones that shaped you before you started following influencers. Maybe you have always admired that dark, sensual glamour like Monica Bellucci in the 1990s. That powerful femininity, that adult, sophisticated sensuality. In that case, trends like mob wife or feline aesthetic make genuine sense for you. You are not following a passing fashion. You are expressing something that has always resonated within you. But if your vibe has always been cleaner, minimalist, Scandinavian, that less is more kind of aesthetic, forcing yourself into a maximalist style full of layers and accessories, just because it is blowing up on Instagram, will make you look like you are wearing a costume. It will look like you are trying to be someone you are not. And people feel that, even if they cannot quite articulate what is wrong. Think of Anna Wintour. Try to guess just by looking at a picture of her. What year was it taken? 2005? 2015? 2023? Impossible to tell, right? Because Anna has been dressing exactly the same way for literally 25 years. Huge dark sunglasses, perfect bob haircut, always at the same length. colorful patterned dresses, vibrant hues, structured silhouettes. It does not matter what is happening on the runways during Fashion Week. It does not matter if oversized is trending or if fitted silhouettes are back. It does not matter if the color of the year is millennial pink or chartreuse green. She dresses Anna Wintour, period. And you know what that powerfully and unmistakably communicates? Absolute confidence, total conviction. A woman who knows exactly who she is and does not need the validation of being on trend, in fashion, or relevant to feel good about herself. That is real power, silent power, power that does not need to shout. Because when you stop blindly following trends, when you develop a clear visual signature, you automatically stop blending into the crowd. And in a world where literally everyone is dressing the same way from TikTok, with the same bag, the same jeans, the same coat, being genuinely different becomes the ultimate luxury. Not different in a loud, flashy, look-at-me way. Different in an authentic, recognizable, memorable way. Here is the rawest truth I can give you. Trends have always existed. Since the very birth of fashion, there have been trends. But never in human history have they been so fast, so invasive, so subconscious, and so invisible as they are now. You genuinely think you are choosing. You look at a piece and think, I like this. It feels like me. But the algorithm already chose it for you 500 screens ago. You think you have developed a personal taste and aesthetic preference. But in reality, you have simply internalized, absorbed, and made your own what you have seen 500 times on your feed over the past 3 weeks. It is sophisticated manipulation, invisible control. And it works precisely because you do not realize it is happening. And the most tragically ironic part of all? We live in a time when you can literally wear anything. There are no longer strict dress codes in most contexts. You can mix eras, styles, references, decades. You can wear sneakers with a dress, a blazer with a sweatshirt. You can create combinations that would have made your grandmother faint. This should be the era of the greatest freedom of expression through clothing. It should be the historical moment when everyone can finally dress according to their unique personality. But instead, paradoxically, everyone is dressing exactly the same. The same trends, the same pieces, the same looks, because the algorithm, that invisible and omnipresent force, decided that this is what is in this week. Infinite freedom of choice resulting in total conformity. It is almost philosophical in its absurdity. The central question, the one that separates those who are in control from those being controlled, is not whether you should follow trends or not. The real question is, are you in charge of that decision? Do you consciously, deliberately choose specific elements from a trend because they make sense for your life, your body, your personality? Or are you just consuming on autopilot, buying because it showed up on your screen, because the influencer you follow wore it, because 3 of your friends already have it? That difference, as subtle as it may seem, is everything. Women who truly stand out, who are remembered after they leave the room, who open doors just by walking into a space, are not necessarily the best dressed in the fashion sense, wearing the latest trend from the most recent fashion week. They are the most authentic. They are the ones you look at and instinctively think, she knows exactly who she is. There is a certainty there, a solidity, a coherence that cannot be bought, copied, or learned in a 5-minute tutorial. And that is definitely not something you can copy from TikTok. It cannot be absorbed from a viral video. It is built methodically, with deep self-knowledge, with conscious and deliberate choices, with the courage to be yourself even when that means not being in fashion, even when it means being different. Because here is the final secret, the one that truly separates memorable women from those forgotten 5 minutes later. Consistency, coherence, authenticity, a solid, recognizable image that tells your unique story, not the generic one the algorithm wants you to tell this week. So before you add that next piece to your cart, the one that showed up on your feed, the one the influencer was wearing, the one that looks so perfect in the photo, stop, breathe, and ask yourself with brutal honesty, does this fit my body specifically, or the model's body in the photo? Does this work for my real life, or for the fantasy life I see on Instagram? Will this last more than 2 washes? Or will it fall apart after the first trip to the laundry? And most importantly, critically, is this really me? Or just another trend I will look back on in 6 months and think, what was I thinking? If you can answer those questions with painful honesty before every purchase, You will already be light years ahead of most women, because you will not be following blindly. You will be leading consciously. You will not be trying to be like everyone else. You will be unmistakably you. Being elegant is not about following trends, it is about making them follow you. You do not need more pieces in your closet. You need more clarity about who you want to be seen as. When in doubt, always ask yourself, does this truly dress me, or merely disguise me as someone I am not? And if this message resonated deeply with you, if you finally understood why that full closet never seems to have anything to wear, if you truly want to be part of this movement of women who transform elegance into something profitable, into real, tangible opportunities, consider becoming a channel member. Starting at just $4.99 a month, you directly support this work, help sustain this space of genuine content, without the sugar-coated influencer talk, without brand-manipulated narratives, without the irritating superficiality that dominates the online fashion world. Click the join button and become part of this community. See you in the next video. And always remember, you do not need to be in fashion. You need to be in command of your own visual narrative.